Oh, hey, sorry, just boxing up some code foils here for a satisfied customer. I'm Dylan here from Kite Puerto Rico, N1 Water Sports here in beautiful San Juan, Puerto Rico. And I'm going to talk to you about the S series and the R series, the difference and what foil you might want to start with, finish with, and what kind of foils we've got in the range, because I get asked this question all the time. S or R? Hey guys, welcome to N1 Surf Shop. So I get asked the question all the time, S or R? And although it is the same brand, they're very different foils. They can do either or sport. Doesn't matter which one you get. You want a downwind, you want a prone, you want a wing foil, you want a toe, foil drive. You can do all of those things with either or. They're just going to give you a very different performance. Um, let's talk about the S. It's categorized as the S. I think it stands for surf, and it is more range at the proning, the towing, the winging, and yes, 100% you can downwind it. It is a 9.5 aspect ratio. It is a high aspect foil. It is just not as high aspect as the R. The R is a 13, which is extremely high aspect. This is a glider wing, and it's R, I think, for race. I should know these things. So the S, what can you do with it? Yes, you can downwind it. Learn how to downwind on it. I did. You can wing it. You can kite it. You can prone it. You can foil drive it, tow it. 500, 615, 720, 1300, and now a 1540. I mean, that 1540 is, it would appear to be huge, but I mean, I have so many different foil brands that have huge foils. 2400, now that's huge. These foils, they look huge because they've got such a big wingspan to them because they're high aspect, 9.5. And remember, these foils are scaled, SR, 9.5 aspect, 9.5, 9.5. Like, look at them. I mean, you can see them on the wall. They are they are just scaled. Of course, they're not carbon copied. Each of their foils are specifically tailored to their size, but they are scaled. They're all the S's are within the same range. So if you like a 980 and you want to go faster, you want to carve harder, you go 850. And you know exactly what it's going to feel like and what you're going to get out of that foil. The R is exactly the same. 860R, 770, 680, they're all 13 aspect ratios. They're just scaled to sized. So you want to go faster, you want more efficiency, uh, then you just go smaller. You want more low end, you want more glide, you go bigger. It's that choosing your size between one range and the other, if you've already got one of their foils, is very easy. And if you have the 980, it's not like going to the 850 is too close. They're spaced at a reasonable surface area that when you do downsize from one to the other, you don't have to bridge the gap and go to the next size up and over. You can if you're on a budget or you want to bridge the gap a little bit more and you think you can hold down the 980S in 7 foot, 6 foot, and you don't need the 850, then sure, skip it and get the 720. Just know that you're missing a little bit of the gap there. And maybe that gap is your sweet spot, and that's what you want to stick with. It really just depends. I can't tell you which foil you want because I don't know your skill level. I don't know your size, your weight, ability, board size. So I don't know where the sweet spot is, right? So I generally say that the 980S quiver killer, 860R quiver killer, in that range. So which foil should you start with? What foil should you get versus the R versus the S? Depends on what kind of performance you want to get out of your foil and what sports you want to do and your style. The S's are a lot more surfy because they're not as high aspect. They carve and roll over a lot harder. On the low end, they've got a little bit more grunt to them, like you can really push on them when you're pumping because they're a little bit thicker in the cord. So there's a little bit more grunt stability to them there. They're a bit more forgiving. The R's, their pump and glide is very light and feather-like. You can push on them. Depends what tail you've got on it. You can push on them, but they like to be lightly tapped and they're just so efficient. Like you'll go further with a pump on the R than you will with an S. Um, Size wise, if you're trying to find, let's say you've got a 980S and you want something that's really equivalent in the R because you like that speed range, you like its low end, you like what it's giving you, but you want to try the efficiency of what the R will give you, you don't want to go in the same size. So you don't go 980S and get a 960R. The 980S is a little bit more equivalent to the 860R in what kind of bottom end you'll get out of it and how it performs. That's how I felt. I feel like you won't be as pleased with the 960R if you're already like ripping on the 980. And then if you want something that's a little bit faster, a little bit more efficient, and feels smoother in your ride, you go 860R. So just from whatever S you get, scale down on the R, one size, okay? If that makes sense. So 1130S is not the same as a 1075. I would say the 1130 is more in range to the 960. 980S, 860. 850S, 770, you know, and that's kind of where they kind of meet. So just so you understand the size difference on the low end, top end, and where their efficiency is, I would say that you want to size up or down one to the S to the R, if that makes sense. If you are just getting into downwinding, you're an intermediate foiler, you should start with the S. It's a lot more forgiving. It's got plenty of glide and grunt and low end to it. You can downwind these just because they're their surf range. Remember, they're high aspect, 9.5. That is a high aspect. That is a downwind foil in some other brand's range. They just have a downwind specific foil. So that's why the S is not viewed like that. But jump on an S, you'll be extremely satisfied with what it can give you in its efficiency. If you want more glide and you want more effortless pump and you want to use less cardio and you want more of like an even speed range, then you go R. I think the S's can go slower and they can go faster on the same foil. I think their range from top end to low end is probably wider than what the R gives you, but the R's are just, they sit so well in like a speed range that that's crazy efficient. So let's say I'm doing a downwind run and I'm using an S, I might be able to get more top speed out of that S, but in the long run, my run might be a little bit slower because I'm compensating with having to keep it up to speed and how much I need to pump it to get out of holes, and maybe I can't follow through to the next, maybe I'm turning off. I'm trying to keep its speed up. Versus the R, I might not have as fast the top end in that run, but I might finish the run faster because it just stays so evenly in that speed. And you're just going and going and going and going and pumping over and gliding, and it'll get you there faster over time. I don't know if that helps you at all. I just know that you'll eventually want a bunch of their foils in this one or that one. If you're prone, you can use the R. It's just more longboardy. If you jump on an S to an R, when you jump back from the R to the S, you feel like it's got more grunt to it. Just because they're so efficient, it's just so much less cardio to pump it around. When you get it in this high cadence, they just feel so light, effortless. Like you don't even feel like you're on a foil anymore. Remember, I'm just comparing the R to the S, not comparing them to different foils. So when I say that's slow and grunty, I'm comparing it to to that. I'm not comparing it to other high aspect foils with the other brands. I don't know. To summarize, I don't know how to summarize. Depends on what you want to get out of the foil, what you want to perform, and how you want to perform. I've had prone sessions on the R's that are super amazing, like just long runs all the way to the inside and super easy pumps all the way back. I'm just not as aggressive in my turns, and I don't feel like I'm on a shortboard, right? Versus this feels like I'm on a shortboard. So you'll be thoroughly impressed with the S or the R. It really depends on your weight, your skill level, conditions that you want to go out in. Give me a call and I'll help you pick the right size that you want to start out your code quiver. And then from there, you can start expanding on and, going into the R or going into the S, going bigger or smaller, depending on what kind of conditions you want to go out in. There's not one foil that can do all of it. These foils could do any sport you want. Just depends what you want to get out of that foil. So I hope this video helps you guys decide what foil you might want to choose. I'm not going to get into the tails, the fuses, the masts, but just between the S and the R, they're different and they're both extremely fun if you put them to the right use for your right skill set. So give me a call, email me, comment below, and I'm happy to pick out the right code foil setup for you, shipping all over the USA. I'm your favorite code dealer, and I'm stoked to help you guys out and pick the right foil for you. Thanks guys for watching, for listening, and if you have any specific questions or you want a video on something, just let me know. You!